So we are now starting the next session, which is pedagogy in communities and traditional institutions. So this is what should have been the first paper presented today. YamunaHarshavardhana is going to be presenting on pedagogical methods in Teru, Kūttu and other performing folk traditions of Bhārata. So to tell you a little bit about her, she was born and brought up in Chennai. Then she has a degree in chemical engineering, which she practiced for a few years. And then she moved to her area of passion, education, where she focused on primary education, which is the most formative period in an individual's life. She has worked in several schools in Bengaluru, Kuala Lumpur and Singapore before locating back to a place close to Chennai. She has been writing on education in her blog, Harmony in Education, and she has been studying Itihasas and Puranas, and she has authored a book of 51 short stories from the Mahabharata titled Once Upon a Time, Thousands of Years Ago, which was published in 2021. She has written a paper on Dravidianism and presented it in Swadeshi Indology 3. She has, right now she is with Bhāratīya Shikshan Mandal. She is doing projects with them. She is in charge of institutional projects, Uttara Tamil Nadu. And she lives with her husband and 2 sons and mother-in-law close to Chennai. So look forward to listening to you, Yamuna ji.
Namaskaram, Jai Mahakal, everybody. I deem it a blessing to be here, standing in front of you to talk about something that I am actually quite new to. This is not an area with which I have been associated for long, and this paper is based on an observer's perspective of Teru, Kūttu. How does this move? Next slide. Red night chal raha hai. Can we just move to the next slide? I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so the objective was to analyze Teru, Kūttu, which is a rural art form, and to glean from it pedagogical methods and tools. And I have primarily used observation. I watched Teru, Kūttu in a specific temple festival in a village that is close to Chennai, where we have moved to recently. And yeah. All right. Now, I'm very quickly going to go through something which probably all of you are aware of, but for the sake of being comprehensive, I've included this. There is a tradition of dhārmik knowledge dissemination in our society. So we have the we have the Shrutis, which are divided into our Vedas, from where we have all the Upanishads, Aranyakas, and so on and so forth, which are again, where we also have other texts coming from it. And then finally we have the Purana, Itihasa, Upapurana, and the Shastras, which are which are created in a form that are meant to be taken to the masses.
Yamuna ji, can you move closer to this center so that you are in the camera?
Okay,
yeah,
fine.
I want your
okay,
like close to this mic, maybe this way, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. So now now I'm just removing whatever is in the center so that we directly see that Vedic knowledge has to go to the masses. This is our tradition. This is how we designed how our society must be educated, right? Now, there is a philosophy behind why we need to give dharma to our people. Right? I have just put 2 shlokas which convey this meaning. One is from the Hitopadesha, Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maitunam Cha, and so on and so forth, where they say have the basic needs of survival is common between man and animal. Only the one who associates or follows dharma can be considered a man, otherwise he is as good as an animal, right? And then we have this from Vishnu Purana, which says, Tat karma ya na bandhaya, sa vidyaya vimuktaye, and which says, that is karma which does not bind you, and that is vidya which liberates. Everything else is only survival activity or skill enhancement. So when we look at both these together, we know what is dharma and we know what is vidya. And we need the kind of vidya which carries forward dharma to our people. So now we come to the pedagogy. They say dharma is imbibed primarily by experience. It cannot be confined to academic activity alone. So experience is important. Arts are sensorial in nature. You use your 5 senses, especially vision, hearing, for understanding and appreciating art. So it is something that can be used very effectively to impart dharma. And therefore, truths are expressed artistically and taken to the masses. Here we see all art forms, if we observe, were associated around our temple culture, mostly in the past, right? So whatever art form you see, it is going to be around that. The same with Teru Kūttu also. This is a folk art form. So there is a history of origin. It is mostly performed in the northern districts of Tamil Nadu. Okay, that place is known, it used to be called as Tondai Nadu. It was ruled by the Pallavas. It's got a long history with the Pallavas. Mamallapuram is also there, and I live close to Mamallapuram, incidentally. And this art form, the present version of Teru Kūttu, where Mahabharata is enacted, was started in the 7th century in a big way by Mahendravarman Pallava. So after that, it became a big thing. It is continuing to date. Of course, it is dwindling. It is kind of becoming more and more endangered, but it is still a living tradition. Okay, and how is it performed? The temple festival lasts for anywhere between 17 to 21 days. And every night, late in the evening, around 9 o'clock or so, they start the performance. It goes on till dawn, 5, 6, 7 a.m. And that's when they will wind up. This is how it is. And then the troupe typically has 15 to 25 people, including the musicians and everybody together. Okay, and the performance is in the open air. It is performed on a low wooden stage or just on the ground. And the audience will be like this. They will be just sitting there, lounging, sleeping, watching it. There is no gallery or anything. It's a very, very informal ambience in the open air. This I clicked, but at that time it was very rainy and slushy. So some of my photographs have not come out that great. So it's okay. You have to make do with whatever I give. So the pedagogy that I looked for are from 2 sides. Okay, one is when the artist is learning and training, which is rather, you can call it individualized. Like how Pasamati Garu was telling, what that person has to know, what that person has to perform. Things like that are involved. And the other side is when they go and perform, how the masses are learning. So that side also there is some pedagogy that is happening. And for both of these, there are pedagogical tools that are observed, either noted and documented earlier, or it is very easily understood because you are familiar with some of the elements that are there in the art form. And some are there which are lesser known and overlooked, which I have tried to highlight in this paper. Okay. Now, in the first part, okay, like I said, there are 2 areas. I'm going to look at the individualized part now. There, I'm just going to quickly go through what is already known. They have studying and memorizing. Okay, this is there. Then they have methods for voice training. Since they have to deliver dialogues, sometimes sing. So those methods I have not gone into because they are probably documented in some other art form. It is the same over here. And then how to emote. Then how to move, dance. Like how he was saying, everything is taught together and then they do. So a lot of things happen. I've just broken it down. And then there is training on musical instruments for the accompanying artists, right? And then here we have the lesser known areas. Just now, Jayashriji was talking about this aspect, submission, the Vinayata, which I have incidentally highlighted here. And this I will be bringing back later, how important this is. Okay. You can see the subtitle there.
அதாவது டீச்சர்ன்றது பெரிய சொல்லுவாங்க, சொல்லுவாங்க, விட்டுருவாங்க. குருன்றவர் அதை அதை அந்த அனுபவம் வர வரையிலும் சொல்லி கொடுக்கும். அவனுக்கு சொல்லி கொடுக்குற, அவன் அந்த கலையை கத்துக்கிற வரையிலும் சொல்லி கொடுத்துனே இருப்பாங்க. திருப்பி சொல்லி அதை லெவல் கொண்டு வந்து நாடகம் நடிக்கிற அளவுக்கு கொண்டு போகும். டீச்சர்ஸ் வந்து டைம் சொல்லுவாங்க, இவங்க அப்படி விட மாட்டாங்க, உருவாக்கி விட்டுருவாங்க.
So he says, Guru is somebody who will push you and ensure that you perform. Till then, they will not leave you. Teacher is somebody who, once they finish, they will go. So he himself was providing that clarity, although I did not ask him for it during that interview. In the background is the hut where they are staying, and you can see some glow over there. It's not very clear on screen. That is where they were worshipping before they applied the makeup. Okay, and then after submission is the structured regular learning. This is something which, okay, one is the Karya Paddhati. There is a structure. No, it's like how Pasmati Garu said, you worship the Bhumi Mata. There is a structure. You just can't go and start. You know, once the bell rings, the teacher comes and starts. No, that doesn't happen like that. There is a structure. Okay, and then there is a lot of self-study. Not everything is spoon-fed. Lot of self-study happens there. And then lot of practice happens there. Okay? And then everything is very ceremoniously done. Right? When you break it down, it is done in a specific manner only. Study means it has to happen like this. Right? So all this, so that Anushtana is also very important.
முதல்ல பாடம் படிக்கிற மாதிரி தான் இல்லாமலே நம்ம எல்லாம் தரவியா முடிச்சுட்டு பாடலாம் முடிச்சுட்டு படிச்சு மனப்பாடம் பண்ணி ரெடி ஆனது பிறகு ரிஹர்சல்ஸ் பாடத்தை ஃபுல்லா படிச்சுக்கணும். அதுக்கு காதால கேட்கும்போது இதுக்கு அதுக்கு என்ன வித்தியாசங்கிறத அதை ரெண்டு பேரும் பேலன்ஸ் பண்ணி நம்ம பேசணும். நன்மணி இன்னார் நாற்பது, இனி நாற்பது, கால் நாற்பது, கலவரி நாற்பது, திருமணி மரம், திருநடகம், திருக்குறள், என்ன தமிழ் என்னன்னு அச்சன் சொல்லுப்பாங்க. அவதான் ஒருதான் பாடம் சொன்னா அவன் தான் கிடையாது.
Okay, so the second one is a Harikatha artist who was also performing the same temple festival. So I interviewed him also. So whatever he spoke is a list of Tamil texts. He says all these we should know, and we cannot keep looking at texts while we do Harikatha. That is, he is not a Vidwan. Person who knows all this by heart and knows how to connect these between each other, only he will be a Vidwan. So that comes under Abhyasa, Adhyayana Abhyasa, and that's covered. And same way previously he was telling a similar thing. We have to practice a lot before we go ahead. And then these people, they perform every day for almost 2 weeks for about 10 hours, 9 to 10 hours they perform through the night. So a lot of stamina building was important. And for the stamina building, one of the things that I learnt, spoke to them and learnt was that they have very specific food habits. They have to control their food, and also they have a lot of exercises which they have to do for a long time before they perform, literally always, because they spend almost 100 nights in a year performing. So it's like they have specific food, and especially avoidance they have a lot. Otherwise they cannot do the art, they cannot perform. So this is also something that is part of the performance. So that becomes some associated with learning. It may not be specifically called pedagogy, but that is very closely connected. On the field, hands-on training. This is something that our students present day we don't see. All these arts have a lot of on-field. Once they are they've reached the threshold, they are expected to be on-field, starting from the lower level and slowly progress through that. And then, like it has been repeatedly spoken in, as you know, as caste, Guru Parampara and all that, DNA plays a role. We cannot deny that. We say about nature and nurture, but nurture is very, very possible only when that nature is pre-existing in that child. And the possibility of the nature existing is higher when DNA supports it. So this works. Okay, so these are some things that are
பாரம்பரியத்தோடு. ஸோ உங்கள் வம்சாவளியாக அது நீங்கள் கற்றுக்கிட்டே வரீங்க. ஸோ அது நீங்கள் முன்னோர்கள் தங்கியாச்சு. எது ஆரம்பிச்சது
இளமையில நாங்கள் பஜனை பாடுவது, நாடகம், ஐயா மாதிரி பெரிய பெரிய மகான்கள் சர்டிஃபிகேட் அதெல்லாம் எங்கள் தாய் மாமா வீட்டில் கலைஞர்கள் இருந்தாங்க.
துரியோதனன் எப்படி பீமனை இறக்க செய்ய வேண்டும் என்று எண்ணம் கொண்டு பீமனை பரவரை இறக்க செய்யும் ஏமாற்றம்
அப்பதான் செஞ்சிருக்காங்க. அப்பா தாத்தா அவரு முத்தாத்தா அவர் அப்பதான் சின்ன வயசுல தான் வந்திருக்காங்க. அந்த பரம்பரை தொழில் தானே, பரம்பரை தொழில் வந்திருக்காரு. ஒருத்தர்
Okay, so the first artist was saying it is a traditional, it's a family tradition, and the second artist also starts with that, and then he also talks about hands-on training. They start with bhajana and all those things, and the third artist again I have included because he is a street singer. He sings bhajan. So he was telling, it came with me like generation after. He was using the same word repeated, so I didn't put the subtitles for that. It would be a lot of same words over there. So these are the lesser known pedagogies on the artist learning side. Okay, now when it goes to the masses, observe already is a objective setting. What I'm going to do, they announce and all those things. That is something to get the attention of the masses. And then the ambience setting, like he's wearing the costume, the stage is there, the lighting is there, the mask is there, and then the musical instruments are there. So the ambience is there, so people know that this is going to happen. And then the media is there, the dialogue, the conversation, the music. All those things are the media, the kind of media that is there to connect with the audience, right? Then there is a multiple layer. They don't just directly enact a single play and go. They jump between this itihasa and some other itihasa or purana or something they found in the news, so that the multiple layered narration is there. So it could be for the sake of comparison or contrasting, or for the sake of reasoning, or probably some other reason which I have not listed here. And these are well-known pedagogies, okay, or methods. And then the role played by Katyakaran, what is called Sutradhar in the other languages, we call Katyakaran in Tamil Nadu. He plays a very literally conducts the play, right? He may interject with humor, or he will control the time of the actor. He'll probably guide the actor to a specific spot within the crowd, and little bit of crowd management also he would do. So a lot of things he does, and this is also documented fairly well in the other arts, so I have not covered that. And then this alienation effect. This term was used by a German dramatist called Bertolt Brecht, and used in the Western plays, but he openly admits that he borrowed it from Japan. 2 minutes, please.
5 minutes.
Okay, fine. He borrowed it from Japan, and it could be that it went across the Eastern countries. So, and this alienation effect, the role it does is to kind of cut off the emotional connect between the audience and the story that is being told through the play. Okay, not with the actors themselves, but to the story itself, so that they know this is just being enacted by them. This is not what I should be looking for. I should look at what they're trying to symbolically say, probably some social issue or whatever, which I should think about, introspect and do. Okay. And of course, improvisation and humor, these things are well known. So this alienation effect is used in Teru Kūttu. Okay. Okay, sorry. Now that scene, that See, all of them are men, just like how it used to be in Kuchipudi. All the performers are men. The person who's coming with the sunglasses is the one who is playing Gandhari. Now, in the middle of the play, because this is the scene where Draupadi Vastraharan happens, right? So, it's the entire night would be only that scene. They will do it in stages, step by step by step. Now, in the middle of that, they are showing in society, you can see this guy who actually gave the interview going and touching the other woman in a very obscene, very, in an indecent manner. And she pushes him. And in the background, you can see Draupadi, the person with long hair, who is complaining what is happening to women here or something like that. And then another man coming and trying to say what is wrong, it's okay and all that. So this guy, who's the one in the front wearing the black costume, is Dushasana actually. He takes a whip and whips him, saying, no, this is not allowed. Okay, so they are kind of cutting off the emotional connect from between the audience and what is being, and telling them these things are something that you should be wary about in society. You must not permit it. You cannot wait for Krishna Paramatma to come and save her. Something like that, okay, in that tone. Now, that is alienation effect that was identified by one researcher named Manish Kumar from Pondicherry, and he has written a paper which I have referred to in this. Okay, now there is something that I thought I would term as evanescence. Evanescence literally means something that lasts only for a short time. It appears and goes, right? Like morning mist or like a wave in the ocean or something like that. So it is, in the art forms, it is a performer causing his importance to fade or evanish, and him becoming one more member of the audience and holding bhakti for the higher powers. Only for bhakti this is used, okay? Now, okay, the evanescence is done by the performer himself or sometimes by somebody else highlighting this. Okay, it could be by somebody else. And it is to turn the mind of the audience to the higher powers. Okay? And it is show the magnificence of higher. Now you can see this. This is the start of that day's thing. Usually in temple festivals, the temple is never closed throughout the duration. But this is Draupadi Amman temple. And on that day alone, it was closed because of this particular scene that he was going to enact. He is going to remove Draupadi's clothes. And before that, see what he does. All right. So there, he is the one who's playing Dushasana. So he is seeking Draupadi's forgiveness. He's telling, I regret having to even perform this role. Forgive me. And he also goes on to say the reason why, I have not shown that here, why he is performing. It is for the good of the thing and therefore forgive me. So this act, it is not distancing the audience from the play story, right? So that is evanescence. Now, what is, okay, this I will tell this later. I'll skip it because of time.
1 minute.
Okay. Yeah. So there is a similarity between alienation effect and evanescence that indicates something that is not really part of the theatrical act. But Kumar, just now I showed you a scene, he calls this alienation, which I am going to refute because it does not fit into the alienation theory. Alienation involves use of techniques designed to distance audience from emotional involvement through jolting reminders and the artificiality. There is no emotional detachment from the play in this case. Their scene is not jolting, it is very tender actually. And there is no artificiality. You can see that the actor is very real, he is very genuine, right? So it is not evanescence. And there are distinct differences between the two. Evanescing is to show magnificence of higher powers. It is to distance the emotionally distance the audience from the play. And then the actor shows that the act shows he reversed, so it is evanescence, right? Then performer evanesces either by himself or is made to do by somebody else. Then there is uses lack of realism. That is the way that is done. Here he is merely enacting, so he is doing it by himself in this. Mind of the audience is turned towards bhakti. Their forced to look at a specific perspective that is being presented, the audience tends to sympathize with the actor who plays Draupadi, Amman for forgiveness. So they turn towards Draupadi there. People are merely reminded of what they already know. They are not taught anything new. Experientially, they know of bhakti, they're just reminded. There they are shown a new perspective. So that difference is also there. And how it feels is like mist forming, like how I told. Here it is more like placing a prism or, opening a door, lifting a veil or something like that. Okay. The scene enacted, therefore, is evanescence. It is not alienation. Okay, this is a summary. I don't have to go through this. And then we have the references. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Yamunaji. It was very, very interesting. Made us think. But I wish the videos were better and could have filled the whole screen. Would have loved to see all those details that you... Huh?
They're all captured on the mobile, so the resolution is not good.
But still, we got a good flavor of everything.
I'll be uploading them on YouTube. I am yet to do because I have to do the subtitles for them.
Okay,
yeah.
Fine. So, any questions? Any hands up?
Yeah.
Hello. It was an excellent and enlightening presentation. Just one small question. You said that they generally do these performances for 100 nights in a year. So otherwise, are they into some other professions? Like, are they peasants or are they following some other vocation, or this is their full-time?
Some of them may be working. Some of them would be just practicing or doing. They make good money.
Okay.
Yeah, it's picking up. But sadly, their own people are reducing. They want to go to college and things like that. Right. Yeah.
I was wondering, do they do the same performance each time, or
mostly the same?
Or is it changes?
They would have a few, but they don't do n number of performances. They would have a few for specific occasions, like for death. In some communities, during death, they do this, and sometimes during Navaratri time they perform in some. So those they have very few. Each troupe would do only this. But this Mahabharata, in northern Tamil Nadu, if you see village temples, a lot of Draupadi Amman temples are there. So this particular sequence is performed by multiple troops. Yeah, which is why Manish Kumar has also studied the same scene and spoken about that. Yeah.
And are they literate? They are literate?
Yes. All literate. Of them, they are literate. They are very, they are very expressive, and they are not afraid of anything. They are literate as in they've gone through, most of them would be school, they would have completed school.
Okay.
That was a wonderful presentation. Thank you for sharing. Question here, you mentioned something about the actors distancing themselves from the role that they perform, right?
No, the actor distancing the audience from the story that is being told.
And also the role that they should not be mistaken to be, like Dushasana-like.
Yeah, that is evanescence,
So you mentioned that. Is it also because the actors are from the community within which they are, in front of which they are
no, they belong to a different community.
Do they... Because they may have to interact with them again later with the audience at some point of time after the stage performance.
Most likely they will call back the same troupe year after year or whenever the temple festival is conducted.
Okay, so they don't live there.
They don't live there.
They don't live there. So I thought it was a way of showing them that they are they have to live back with these same people in the community. So therefore they are respectable people. They are not what they perform negative roles as.
They go to many villages and perform.
Okay.
So they would be living in a place. It could be one of the other villages, I don't know, but not every village has their performers.
A very short question. Have you come across similar performances of Upapuranas, which actually tell the origin story of Jatis? Like in Andhra, you have Jati Purana performances which are very similar, where you have the main story being performed, but you also have a Upanataka where a commentary will be going on connecting the main Purana to some very local issue or, some very, very recent context, some conflict in the community or so. So I think...
Yeah.
But in Tamil
Nadu... to be very honest, I myself have witnessed they performed for 17 nights. First time I sat through all the 17 nights and watched. And that too, not throughout the night on every day. So I really have not seen so many for me to be able to answer that.
One more relating to that, where you be able to make a connection with other Terukuttus, not just this particular, but maybe in Madurai and all, they do the what do you call Koikal Gudurai, or in Mangalore they do the Bhutakola. Were you able to make connection with those, with this tradition?
I can't answer that. Yeah.
Otherwise, the questions are going. Actually, first of all, I have to congratulate Yamuna ji for a very ideal presentation, I should say. It is the way, this is the way a presentation has to be, a role model for all other presentations. Excellent, Yamuna ji. And I was feeling ecstatic because of my profession. I work on these same cultures. Through my field work, I live with them and all that. This particular thing that she was talking more about, she was including Draupadi performance among other things. She was talking about Harikatha and other forms also. The Draupadi theme story, which is part of Draupadi Amman cult that she was talking about, is called Bhārata Kūttu. It is within Teru Kūttu. Bhārata Kūttu is a different genre within Teru Kūttu. And the Bhārata Kūttu that is happening is actually a worship. It is a Draupadi Amman worship. There is a whole book by Alf Heetal about the Draupadi cult in Tamil Nadu. And there is one Shashikant in Chennai who is documenting the whole Bhārata Kūttu. No, Villi part is completely different. Villi Bharatam is again different. Villi Bharatam is not Teru Kūttu. Villi itself is a different genre. So Bhārata Kūttu is one of the genres of Teru Kūttu that is happening. She was mentioning repeatedly that it is a Draupadi Amman temple, and it is a Draupadi Amman worship actually that is happening. And all over the world, most of the theatrical forms emerged out of rituals only. These are rituals. Basically, they are not theater. They talk about Greek theater also, that they have come from Dionysian rituals in Greek theater. So most of our theater is coming from rituals only. It is the same that is happening here. So, and Sushruti ji's question about Jati Puranas, Indic Academy conducted a whole symposium on Jati Puranas. And these Jati Puranas are around 100 of them. 100 Jatis have 100 Jati Puranas. And they have different performance traditions. Some of them are pure narrative performances. Some of them are theatrical performances. So theatrical performances of Jati Puranas are only part of it. And the humorous part, which is comic relief, is part of the entire Yakshagana genre. Entire Vidhi Bhagavatam, Teru Kūttu, this is the whole genre. And the incident that I was mentioning from Machupalli Kaifiyat was also part of that humorous comic relief that deviates from the actual story. It is done for a comic relief. So it is there in the Bhārata Kūttu also, that happens. The Sutradhara, she was mentioning Sutradhara plays the role of comic relief and all that. So as part of that comic relief, they bring a commentary on the contemporary incidents. They comment about for example, the local SI with whom the performer is very angry. He makes all the comments about the SI in that. The SI takes it easy because it's a performance. So he gets a release of all the anger that piled up in him about the SI or the local political leader. He makes comments about them, and he takes that opportunity to bring that comic relief. And he also, same thing happens in Kuchipudi, Melator, the entire genre, the entire Yakshagana, Vidhi Bhagavatam, Teru Kūttu genre. It is the same thing that happens. So that's not specific to Kula Puranas or Jati Puranas. It is that genre. But Jati Puranas, again, they have narrative performing art forms. They also, apart from the theatrical performing art forms, the beauty of her thing is that she has shown the performers and the gurus being very conscious about their pedagogical methods. And they are consciously comparing it to the contemporary pedagogy also. In the very beginning, the person was saying, teacher and guru are different. Teacher comes and goes, guru stays with you. Guru pushes you to the actual activity and all that. So that's so amazing that they are also observing what is happening in the modern education, in the modern pedagogy, and they are aware of that and they are comparatively commenting on that also. That is such a beauty, and you could capture them, and those snippets, the small few second video clips that you were able to make, you have such a great talent in doing this. You could incorporate.
That's because you said 15 minutes, so I had to make it very, very small.
Okay, so you give the credit to us?
Definitely, 100%. I am here by your grace only.